Miami handled business yesterday at home. Final score 48 for Miami. Texas A&M 33. Couldn't help but feel like, man, watching this one back, feels like it's a new Miami. Feels like it's a new you, if you will. And I don't know, I'm not here to say that Miami is back or get into any of that like headline kind of culture. I felt like we were watching a different kind of Miami football team, and we'll break that down here in a second. But there's some very interesting noise going on right now in Coral Gables, Florida. So we should talk about that. Make sure you're subscribed, though, right here to the On3 YouTube channel. Listen, Miami fans, we've had a lot of y'all join the channel here last couple of months, really. If you haven't yet subscribed, no time like the present. We're going to talk about your Canes. We're going to talk about National College Football. And we're not doing anything else extra with it, all right? It's no high fructose corn syrup. It's no additives. It's college football and only college football 365 days a year on this very channel. Also, the Hard Count is live Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 11 a.m. Eastern. Set your calendars. Get in here. We'll talk some ball in the live chat. Have a real good time. We appreciate you in advance for that. All right. What I saw last night from Miami was how I would describe it as a spike on the Richter scale. Like, you know, when you see a graph and you see that line going across it and you see like a spike in it and you see a bottom part of it, a low point in it. We saw a spike last night from Miami. We saw a high point on the scale from them. Now, the question is that high point going to be the outlier? Or is that just what Miami's going to be going forward now? Like, you obviously switched coordinators now. Shannon Dawson called the offense, and you scored 48 points as a team. I understand you ran a kickback, but even so, man, you feel pretty good about what you did offensively. Something that you were struggling to do a season ago. Defense, was it perfect? No. A&M, a really talented football team. I think A&M, that was a really solid win. We'll talk about that more going forward here. But you just can't help but wonder, man, is that a spike? Or is that just going to be the identity of this team going forward? I think it's worth noting because the ACC as a whole now, a little bit murky. Florida State's obviously Florida State, but what's up with Clemson? I don't know. They kind of messed around, at least in the beginning, with Charleston Southern. Lost to Duke. What's Duke going to be? I don't know. I'm just saying, for Miami, things are interesting when it comes to the ACC race and what they could be. Just felt like a new brand of football, didn't it? Like watching, if you just put the tape up next to each other, forget stats. Say you're watching the silent film. There's no box score. There's no score bug. And you're just watching these teams play football. You got last year's Miami, this year's Miami, side by side. This year's Miami looks noticeably different. They look like they're more aggressive. Defensively, for sure. And I understand that box score, that final score, not what you want to see. They're going to get that corrected. But it felt like they were being the hammer, not the nail. They were flying around to the football. They were trying to make something happen on the defensive side of the football. They weren't just kind of trying to hold up their end of the deal and just hope something good happened. Like, no, they were playing with bad intentions. Also talk about this, how much we've gotten to the culture part of Mario Cristobal. How much have we said he's a culture guy, culture builder? It's going to be a tough culture at Miami. Well, we can talk about that all we want, but to actually do it in a game, to go down by 10 points, to not flinch, to find a way to battle back and ultimately win that game by double digits, like, that's culture. That's resiliency. And it's cliche, but it's cliche for a reason, and it starts at the top. And now I think we're slowly but surely seeing the persona of Mario Cristobal and what he's preached start to infiltrate the entirety of that locker room. Tyler Van Dyke, man, he's night and day. And I mean, we have been on the podium, on the soapbox for Tyler Van Dyke here for a minute. We never believed that he became worse at football from one year to the next. And Miami Hurricane fans, I don't think y'all did either. You were probably fine with him flying under the radar on the national scene. He got some help through the portal now. He got some guys on the offensive line for him. Protect him a little bit better. Receiver play looked good yesterday. I mean, they were scoring points in bunches. 48 points. They scored 9 last year against this Texas A&M team. And it's not like Texas A&M just lost all their defensive players. They returned right around 70% production from last year's defense that allowed like 22 points a game. That's a good defense personnel-wise. And you scored 40-plus points. The strides they've made as a team, the strides that they've made offensively with Tyler Van Dyke, you feel really good about where he's at. Threw for 374 and 5 touchdowns last night, man. He's back. It's the way it feels, man. Tyler Van Dyke, he looked in control. He looked comfortable. As long as Tyler Van Dyke is playing quarterback for this team, they're going to have a chance in every single game. And I feel pretty confident saying that. Yes, they got to have the right things around him to ultimately get to where they want to go and be at the top of the ACC and all that. But like I'm telling you, Tyler Van Dyke, being the guy pulling the trigger for you, you will be in position to compete every single time. So now I think there's a little bit of a matter of this whole new you kind of thing we're talking about here, this whole new Miami. You got to credit Mario Cristobal for continuing to hammer away at the points that matter, the internal pieces, not getting caught up in the results, going and acquiring the right talent to build this roster to win right now. And they're rolling. I mean, he said in his post-game press conference yesterday, he's like, we have a proven formula that we've taken from place to place. We've seen it work. And we believe if we take that formula and get it rolling here at Miami, there's nowhere better. And it's hard to disagree, man. I think there's a lot of kids that are looking to go play at Miami, to stay home in that Miami area, the state of Miami, if you will. Shout out Howard Schnellenberger. I think that's kind of the powder keg they're sitting on. So I don't want to get too far into the future and overproject, but as a whole, man, from what we've seen from Miami in the years past, then for them to hit the reset button on the coordinators and to have Lance Guidry now calling the defense and Kevin Steele went to Alabama, I get that, but to hit the reset button on the offensive side of things, have Shannon Dawson running the show, to look night and day different against a team that you struggled to score any points against last year, to handle business at your house, got to feel encouraged. So keep an eye on Miami now. The ACC race going to be a lot of fun to watch. I understand it's Florida State. I understand Clemson's there, but keep an eye on Miami. As long as they got TVD and they operate the way they did yesterday offensively, they're going to have a chance now. Make sure you're subscribed right here. College football every single day. Follow me on Twitter or X if you want to call it X, however you prefer to label that. And on Instagram, same handle for both, @JDPakel. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all, man. We're going to keep this party rolling. We will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.